Massive edition of Footy SA coming right up. Captain Taylor Walker under fire from some ex-AFL greats. Put Adelaide off to Shanghai. We'll give you the latest on them, and also some contract issues for a star ruckman. Tom Duday from the Crows also shares his amazing story with us tonight. It's all coming up right now on Footy SA. Good evening and welcome to your home of footy in South Australia. You are watching Footy SA. We've got a big show coming up. Lots on the agenda as always. My co-host, former Crows best and fairest winner Bernie Vince is in the house. Bernie.
Disappointing weekend, mate. Disappointing weekend. I'm very flat because the Crows blew it on the weekend. Could have taken a big scalp and didn't, so I'm disappointed.
Haven't beaten anyone in the top 8 yet so far this year, and that was the case once again, despite being 33 points up 6 minutes into the third term. Our Kia big moments for the V6 twin turbo. It is the Western Australian car of the year. Was that lead? And this is how they blew it with some costly mistakes.
Yeah, they just continued to take unnecessary risks in the back half and turn the ball over. But it was more the big guns came to play in the second half for West Coast. Yep. Yo, Redden, Shuey. They had 40 tackles between them for the night, which is just huge numbers. But they got smacked in the clearances too. They kicked, I think, 6 goals in the second half from clearance, West Coast. And that's how they got back in the game. But Kennedy didn't have a huge influence numbers-wise, but was able to kick 3 really crucial goals. And we're just too good in the end. The belief was there.
It's the second week in a row where an opposition star midfielder has really got a hold of them. And it happened earlier on in the year with Dangerfield. We spoke about that on this show. Last week it was Lachie Neale. Last quarter it was Luke Shuey, who ran right with 11 disposals and 6 clearances in the last quarter alone. He
was unbelievable, Luke Shuey, in that last quarter, and I was at the game, and he was having a massive, massive influence. Just needed someone to go to him, someone to make him unaccountable, because he was just running...
Same old story.
Running around free. And further to your point, Gaff all game was just doing what he liked. He was free most of the game outside on that wing, and he dropped back and took intercept marks, and just their key players were just too good.
The Kia big moment, number 2. Wasn't a great night for the skipper and your mate, Taylor Walker. Nick Riewoldt went on SEN SA this morning and had this to say.
That will be an embarrassing moment for him today if it's brought up in a review, particularly as a captain of the footy club when you're there to drive the high standard. I think just because you're captain, it doesn't mean you're immune to going back to the sandful.
Now, Bernie, I want to refresh your memory about something you said on this show after the showdown. This was your thoughts on a similar effort from Port Adelaide's Stephen Motlop.
They're the non-negotiables. Put your head over the ball, it's your turn to go. And he just looked a little bit jumpy, a little bit scared, didn't he?
Are you going to call your mate out for the same?
Look, I didn't like the look of it, but I thought he was reasonably serviceable on the weekend. I was, as I said, I was at the game, brought the ball to ground, brought the smalls into the game, and had some really big crunching tackles. McGovern left the ground because he ran through him. When he's not creating contests, I'll get into him.
Yep.
Didn't like the ground ball, getting back to your question. Tex, cut that out of your game. But I thought he was serviceable on the weekend.
You thought he was serviceable. Had 5 kicks, 0 were effective. Did lay 5 tackles though, to be fair, and had 7 handballs. But wasn't a big night for the skipper, and gave away a crucial free kick as well with the Miller goal, which we might have a look at just here now. Probably you can call this soft, but to the letter of the law, he takes his eyes off the ball, and it's probably pushing the back. All this is happening, Bernie, while Josh Jenkins is sitting in the stands earning a reported figure close to $700,000 per year.
Isn't it?
For the 6th week in a row, Josh Jenkins is in the stand, and Himmelberg and Walker have no influence on the game. What is going on?
Well, Jenkins wasn't sitting in the stand. He was on the ground after the game, running in the rain, because I watched him. I saw him running. It's bad enough not getting picked, but to be forced to run after the game in the rain wasn't great for him. Gibbs and I think Fogarty were out there training. But, it puts pressure on all of them. And Nick Riewoldt's right. It doesn't matter if you're captain or not. If you're not in the best 22, you don't play. But I think clearly he's in the best 22.
Is Jenkins, though? I mean, we've spoken about it, and to your credit, you've said, I would have picked him 2 weeks ago. I've said the same. Yep. Himmelberg had 6 possessions against Brisbane last week. He's had the same again and no influence on the weekend. is there something more to this Jenkins story that we don't know about?
Yeah, it's similar to the Gibbs
Yeah.
going out, isn't it? There must be something more to it, but I would have picked him on the weekend after kicking 6 goals in the SANFL. I thought he was ready to come back. We said don't pick him until he's in good form, and I felt like that's good form, kicking 6. And yeah, Himmelberg didn't do a lot on the weekend, so hindsight's a great thing for us. But I think he's ready to come back in.
I would have thought so. He didn't have a game on the weekend, just the one Sandford game, so that's why he was doing that, running after the game with his teammates. Righto, let's move on to Port Adelaide, because it was equally as bad, if not worse, for Port Adelaide on the weekend, and their slow starts are becoming such an issue for them. This is not good vision that they want to look at. Minus 16 in tackles in the first quarter, and it's a bit of a cliche, but they just didn't turn up, Bernie, with the same intent that a hungry Alistair Clarkson-led Hawthorn did.
It's worrying signs.
Look at this.
It's very... Oh, that's... Well, we'll let him off. We'll let him off once. He wouldn't want to do that again, okay. But, I mean, that's a worrying sign. First quarter, 32-0, wasn't it? They hadn't even scored a point. 0 at quarter time. I mean... Really worrying signs. Did they really want to be there in Tasmania? Maybe that's a win for Hawthorn playing down there.
I just can't get a read on where Port Adelaide actually sit. They were 8th coming into this game. Where are they now? They're in the traffic jam between 8th and 14th, I reckon, Port Adelaide. And this is the issue for them. It's been... They've only won 3 out of their first quarters, out of the 10 cracks that they've had, and they've been held goalless in 3 out of their last 4 opening quarters. Goalless. And minus 16 at quarter time, as I said, in tackle. So some massive issues there. Ken Hinkley's put that on the agenda. Perhaps they change things up this week. The other issue for them is a player who is out of contract. Paddy Ryder has been their number 1 ruckman for the last 5 years. He's an All-Australian. He's out of contract. And I asked Chris Davies about it on SEN SA this morning and what the future holds for Paddy Ryder.
Oh, look, I mean, Paddy's been, here at our club for 5 years now. He, to his own position last year, probably wasn't, at the same level as he was the year before. He wants to have an opportunity to play well, which, in fairness, he's done so far this year. So, look, again, we'll look at that, after the mid-season break. We've got a number of those guys who are out of contract that we'll contemplate, after that.
Shapes to be an interesting debate, Bernie. You know what it's like when you get later on. You want the security. I think Paddy Ryder's searching for a 2-year contract. I believe Port Adelaide will offer him 1, and then it's sort of who blinks first. But with Laddams coming through in Frampton and also Lycett, who they've got from West Coast, he's not the number 1 guy anymore.
I think you give him 2 years though, don't you?
You give him 2?
Paddy Ryder is as important player to Port Adelaide as anyone in that side, I believe. But I reckon you stumped Chris Davies there. He wasn't ready for that question. I reckon he might have just given up something that they may not get that 2 years, so could be looking elsewhere. But
or get involved on social media at footy_SA. 2 years for Paddy Ryder Port fans, or 1. Have your say on that, of course. They did make Peter Laddams a debutant on the weekend. He's a young ruckman coming through. Bernie is where he loves to be, at the Plasma, all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty. The biggest issues for the week, it's over to you.
Okay, here we go. Is Kane going to be in it or not?
I think so.
No, well,
if I'm a betting man.
You might not be.
Yeah, of course.
Sir Doug Nicholls ran this round, and how well do they do this? I love some of the Guernseys. We'll see them in a minute.
Roll the tape. Come on, roll the tape.
Make me look bad. Make me look bad. Where are they? Come on.
It's coming. The Guernseys were good. Thought Adelaide was terrific. Here we go. Here comes something. Roll the tape.
But they do it very well, and I love the players getting together in every game, standing around the circle.
Yep.
And, all the Indigenous boys here in that game getting a photo. But well done to the whole AFL. Very good. Come on, Kane. Surely Port Adelaide can come up with something better than this.
Whoa.
Put some spark on the stadium park. Are you kidding? Oh, a little sister could have come up with that. What about... Oh, yeah, I like this, didn't I? Oh, I love this. I love when a player takes it on and finishes it, because normally they take it on and stuff the kick up. So that was very good there. I like this too.
Seed.
Laddams.
Yep.
Debut on the weekend. Good, nice finish from the pocket. Yep. And every player on the ground gets around him. I love to see that. And what about this setup? I like these little gags at footy clubs. Sloaney gets Mick Henry, I like to call this.
Oh,
bang.
That actually scared me.
Even Sloaney like that one. Oh, yes, and your man, Dersma, loves the arrow. Where was the arrow here?
Well, he didn't know it was a goal.
This man wanted it. This man wanted it. Give us something. Come on, you can't be conditional. If you're going to do this sort of stuff, do it every week, every goal. And now this. Kane, here we go. He's joined the Channel 9 News team.
Yep.
You can say no to things, mate. You can say no. And what is this called? Kane's cool.
Yeah.
I think it should be Kane thinks he's cool. That's what I think it should
that a
be.
joke?
And I'm dropping the mic on that one because I'm done.
That was a dad joke. You are a dad and you've picked up the dad jokes. But all in all, pretty good effort from Bernie at the Plasma. Get involved and have your say on social media. Just put in Footy SA on Facebook to join in the conversation. Massive show coming up. Tom Duday has an amazing story that he's going to share with us. And Malcolm Blight inducts another legend into his Hall of Fame. You are watching Footy SA. We're doing it all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year warranty, and also OTR, who always make life easy. Tom Rockcliffe had a bit of an injury concern for Port Adelaide. Thought it was a traditional hammy. It was going to miss 3 or 4 weeks. You'll see it here. Nothing obvious, but he gets a bit of ragdoll and then came off, had some ice on that hammy. Good news is, though, Bernie, scans today all clear and will be on the flight to Shanghai on Tuesday.
Scans all clear. He was
clear.
iced up on the bench. I saw him.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so all good.
All good.
Off to China.
And they do have some players to come back very, very soon. Jonas came back in. Lysett is also going to play. Burton is a chance. I'd say he'll be on the plane. Charlie Dixon keeps improving. Brady, but probably not. And also great to see Hamish Hartlett get through in the SANFL for his first game back in a long, long time. We'll chat about that very shortly. Let's take a look at the votes and how I saw it between Port Adelaide and Hawthorn. It's our SA Player of the Year thanks to Repco Authorised Service Centre, local mechanic. With the nationwide backing of Repco, book your next car service at repcoservice.com. Just one.
What have you done here?
He was great. Darcy Byrne-Jones was great. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anyone else. On reflection...
So one player was serviceable on the weekend.
I thought Hawthorn probably had the best 8 players on the ground.
Yep.
Byrne-Jones was Port Adelaide's best. On reflection, I was probably a bit harsh on Matthew Broadbent. So, Broady, if you're watching, I've studied the tape. I put my votes in a bit too early this week and I probably should have given you 1 vote. But
you were just angry. You were probably caught up with it.
Wasn't a pretty day.
Port lost.
Wasn't a pretty day. Hey, Malcolm Blight has taken this show by storm and hasn't his Hall of Fame, all thanks to Amy, caused a stir. There's not many spots left. Let's take a look at who is the next inductee. Lucky you're with Amy, and lucky this person is in Blighty's Hall of Fame.
Warren Tredrea was born to play football. I'd watched his father play at Collingwood and also Port Adelaide. In 1998, I was watching a game, Carlton versus Port Adelaide at Princes Park. Warren Tredrea took 17 marks and kicked 8 goals. He announced himself as the next young superstar of the competition. There was always pressure going into showdowns, and at match committee, the biggest question was, what will we do with Warren Tredrea? In 1999, Warren kicked 3 goals in the showdown match in a great game at Football Park. In 2004, injury forced Warren into being captain of that premiership side, but he held up that cup as good as anybody. Oh, by the way, there weren't co-captains in those days. I always knew Warren was going to be a great player, but reading the news on telly, wasn't sure about that. Warren Tredrea, welcome to Blighty's Hall of Fame.
Probably the best player I've ever played with. There it is. You can see the list there. There's only 3 spots left, Bernie.
Yeah, we're running out of time, me and you, mate.
And you ran into Malcolm Blight on the weekend.
I ran into Blighty. I said, mate, I love when you talk about yourself more than the actual player getting into your Hall of Fame. And he wasn't too happy with my comments, actually. He just dismissed me.
And rightly so. But check it out. If you want to get along to an evening with Malcolm Blight for the Hall of Fame, Thursday the 18th of July, that's at Adelaide Oval. And for your chance to win tickets to that for you and 4 mates, just visit the Sports Day SA website or Facebook page and tell us why you should be going along to Blighty's Hall of Fame. Heaps coming up. Stay with us. We'll be back on Footy SA. Thanks for joining us on Footy SA, doing it all thanks to Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year factory warranty, and OTR, who are making life easy. Speaking of which, Bernie is at the plasma for the OTR takeaway. Kick goals and tackle life problems close to the siren with OTR and their 24-hour convenience. And it was a coaching move that impressed you on the weekend.
It very much did, and they've got a player. They've found a real good player. Pick 11, Wayne Miller.
Yep.
And we've seen him in defence a lot, but played a lot of his junior career forward. And he was thrown forward on the weekend and had a real impact for Adelaide. So let's have a look here. He can do the lot. He defends, he tackles. You see a big tackle here, holding the ball. Here, this is a contested mark against Jerry McGovern. Like, not too many players do that. I know it was to his advantage, but real good grab. Here, goes forward again. I mean, luck's a bit of a fortune here, but good players seem to be in the right positions at the right times. And this is what I like about him, his finish.
Yep.
He doesn't miss. And he kicked 3 goals on the weekend. Probably should have kicked 4. Well, he did kick 4. Tex gave the free kick away in the goal square. And, I mean, he can play anywhere. You'd love to have 3 or 4 of him running around.
Well,
but
he reminds you a bit of a young McLeod, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
McLeod's ability to play midfield, back and forward. So we're looking forward to watching him develop. And, of course, over that shoulder injury now is terrific. Let's find out if he was in the votes for Repco Authorised Service Centre, your local mechanic with the nationwide backing of Repco. Book your next car service at repcoservice.com. And
he certainly was.
He's there.
He's in my
3
votes. He's very good. 3 votes for 3 goals. But Cam Ellis-Yeoman, I thought, had a real standout game. And he's been, I think since he's been back in, that's been the turnaround of their form. They won 4 in a row, and obviously 2 close ones the last 2 weeks. But Sloaney just keeps turning up and playing well every week. Got ran with on the weekend for the first half. Still had a big impact. Brad Crouch, 39 possessions, just keeps finding the footy. And Rory Laird, I thought, was pretty good too off half-back. But see how I fill my votes up, okay?
Sloan,
even when they lose.
Has shot to the top on 27, your man, Brad Crouch. Travis Boak didn't poll on the weekend, so he's just stagnated. Too many crows on that leaderboard. We're going to have to do something about that next week. Speaking of a crow, a very important one who is out injured, unfortunately, at the moment. But we were lucky enough to catch up with him during the week, and he can share his amazing family story and how he's changed forever. His life changed when he was 11.
Hey crew! Hello, how are you?
Good.
Good to see you again. What are we up to over here?
Bedford Group, they do work for people with disabilities, provide employment and then also provide training for people with disabilities to go out into the workforce and live a normal life in a sense.
What are you up to here? So you putting the lids on or you putting the stickers on?
Yeah.
Easy as that, hey?
Yep.
The staff that work here are just so generous and happy and very patient, and then also the people with disabilities, it's almost like disabilities aren't here because they're working, they're very passionate about their work. They don't just come in here just to dawdle around and do something. They actually feel like that there's a reason they're here, and whether it's unpacking cheese boxes or packing cutlery in a packets, it's just, that's their job and that's their purpose, and it's awesome to see them provided with something like that. My brother Harley is a double leg amputee. He was driving down a back road in Lara, a dirt road, lost control of the car, swung around and then wrapped around a pole and the car lit on fire. So airlifted to the Alfred in Melbourne, spent about 100 days in ICU, another 250 in Caulfield rehab. Now he's in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. Sometimes I just would love for him to have a day walking again, especially when I look back at old photos and he's playing basketball with us in the backyard or standing up taking a photo when he used to be a lot taller than us. I guess I'd like to give up a few of my days of walking for him to be able to experience it again. I draw inspiration with his persistence and how he got through it and how he is still living. And obviously I've got my injury now, I've had a few injuries in the past, and it helps you put life in a perspective in terms of like, oh, I'm walking already and he's never going to be walking again. So for me, it's 12 months of rehab. For him, it's a lifetime.
3, 2, 1. There we go. Good job.
Tom has a great passion for disability and his personal stories really touched our hearts here. Tom is much more than just football. His compassion for people with disability, but just his general community spirit, he's a real genuine soul and he is so professional. I think we've all seen that in the way he's handled his injury, and he has just moved on and donated his time to us, and we couldn't be prouder.
I think when you take a step back and take the macro view of a setback in life, you just sort of have to put it into perspective and look at how minor that is, and this place just obviously emphasises that, and it actually brings you more joy, to be honest, to being here. It doesn't make you go, oh, look how lucky I am. It makes you just, you see the smiles on their face just working, and you're like, well, if they can smile working, why can't we? It's just it's a nice place to be.
An amazing story and a great insight into behind the scenes of one of Adelaide's best players. Pretty impressive.
Very impressive and puts life in perspective, doesn't it? It's great that AFL players give back to the community so well, and that's a great story.
Well done, Tom, for sharing your story. Nathan Brown is in the house for Sportsbet. Let's find out the odds for all matches this Friday and Saturday with Sportsbet. If your team goes 12 up at any break, they'll pay you out and you win. As always, gamble responsibly, Brownie.
It's been a big day down at head office today at Sportsbet, but let's get into some of the markets. I tell you what, the Crows, not bad odds. I think they should be able to beat the Demons. They have to travel up north, obviously. Anything can happen up there. The weather can come in. So the big win, little win, I would be looking around this 1-39 mark. I can't see one of the other sides blowing each other out of the water. So Adelaide 1-39 will where the money will come in. Let's have a look at Port Adelaide up against the Saints. I reckon those odds are about right. Saints are playing okay footy at the moment. You'd think Port Adelaide should be able to win that, and I'd be looking either the $2 there or the $4.50 for 40 plus. Port Adelaide need to put some wins on the board, and I reckon this one is the one. Now, let's have a look at the top four. Adelaide still $8 for top four. They're playing okay footy at the moment. Almost got over the top of West Coast, but $8. Fremantle, Port Adelaide, $14 there, and I think West Coast are in there at about $1.20 as well. The Premiership market, Geelong are the outright favourites with good reason. They are flying at the moment. Adelaide and Port Adelaide down the bottom. The Tigers are in there at 7, West Coast at 8 as well. As we roll into the next one, and it is the Brownlow Medal. I don't think Lockie Neal would have voted, but maybe Paddy Cripps around the mark. Travis Boak wouldn't have voted at all. Rory Sloane, not sure about, but 5 possibly would have got some votes. It is very tight. Brodie Grundy has been the big move the last couple of weeks into $11, and Tim Kelly just sits in there at 7. The next North Melbourne coach, you got another one out of the way, Kane. Well done. Let's have a look. Brett Ratton is at the top of the list, but everything is even at the moment. Who would know? It's a stab in the dark at the moment. Just thought I'd give it to you out of interest. Good luck.
Well done, Brownie.
Jump
Gamble
on,
responsibly. Yeah, get on there.
How much is he paying for the coach at North?
I couldn't see that far down the list, but are you putting your hat in the ring?
Oh, I'll throw it in. I don't have many hats, but yeah, why not?
Coming up next, we'll take you through all the action in the Balfours Sandful League. Stay with us on Footy SA. Thanks for joining us on Footy SA for Kia, home to Australia's best 7-year factory warranty, and OTR kick goals and tackle life problems close to the siren with OTR and their 24-hour convenience. There was only one game in the Sandful on the weekend, Bernie. It's for Balfours. The Balfours Take a Specky promotion is on now. Entered today, and, well, how about the Tigers?
They're on fire, mate, your old side. Who's got the goal-kicking coach down there, though? 2 goals, 11 in the first quarter.
Don't be picky.
Well, I'm just trying to...
It was windy. Look at it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Liam McBean kicked 4 goals. He's been in good form as well, as has Lockie Hosey. So Tigers cement their position on top of the ladder, and good to see that man, Hamish Hartlett, back for Port Adelaide. 17 disposals and got through unscathed. Winner footy every day this season. Upload your perfect footy moment to @Balfours Bakery. Hashtags take a specky or go to balfours.com.au. And don't forget, you can catch up on the best bits of tonight's show with the SEN app. Just download it today and get involved. You can choose any station that you like, and also the news feature there will keep you up to date with all the things happening. Bernie, a couple of huge games as always. Just got to win.
Both teams
have to win.
have got to win. I think they can. Both teams playing in 2 different cities.
Yep.
Darwin and China. You wouldn't get that too often, would you? I think both teams can win though, and looking to bounce back from last week.
I'm going to tip both teams to win as well. Port Adelaide off to Shanghai tomorrow morning. We'll take you through it next week when we join you for Footy SA. Have a great week.